Loyalty Tips for Executives. My name is Dov Baron, I'm your host, and this, of course, is part of the Full Monty Leadership Series, where I get to speak to leaders from every walk of life, some very different kinds of guys, and get them to let it all hang out, if you will, and share with you what it takes to be a real leader. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome, and maybe you've been following us as part of the Full Monty series or part of the My Mastery podcast, and we're glad to have you here. Make sure that you share the show with everybody else. My guest today is the world's #1 concierge. Now you're thinking, what the heck is that? Well, you've been to a hotel, right? And you go, where do we go for dinner? And they say, talk to the concierge. And the concierge points you off to that. And then if you're a little bit more higher end, you're in one of those hotels and you say, can you get me something? And those concierges might be able to get you something. Well, this is the guy who's not attached to a hotel, who does that kind of thing for very powerful and wealthy people. Let's say, I don't know, maybe you want to get married by the Pope, or maybe you want some famous singer to serenade your beloved over dinner. Maybe you want to hang out with Richard Branson. Maybe you want to do something that I've never even thought of that is quite bizarre. This is the man who'll do it for you. And his name is Steve Sims. Welcome, Steve.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks, Dov.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. We get to do some fun stuff together. Now, tell us a little bit about, well, first of all, tell us your name of your company and what officially you do.
Well, the company is the BlueFish. It can be found at thebluefish.com. And what do? I get shit done. So basically, people contact me from around the world and my team, and they ask us to hook them up with everything from exotic travel to access to amazing bucket list experiences. So we're lucky and fortunate enough that every morning throws a new challenge at us, a new excitement, a new passion, and then we go and get it done.
That's pretty cool. It's actually very cool. You and I, of course, sat down in November. We were in Marina Del Rey, and we were sitting there in the marina, beautiful sunny day in November, hanging out. And Steve was telling me all the background stories on this, and I want to get Steve to share you a little bit with how this got started, because it's an odd job, right? I mean, I don't think when you were at school, you and I were in Britain, we remember the days when we had, what were they called, career counselors, and they used to say, what do you want to be? I don't think anybody wrote the world's greatest concierge on that list, particularly if they came from a family of bricklayers.
No, they didn't. I remember my career counselor just giving me every document he could for the military, just saying, look, you need help. Go and join one of these, and they'll make a man out of you. I have a great deal of respect and fondness for the military, and that was where my path was going. But no, a series of screw-ups and mistakes and failures along the way have led me into this. And I don't think it's a job. I don't look at it as a job. Right. It's just something that I do, that works, that resonates with me, that I find capable to do, that entices and challenges me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm very fortunate that I've been able to make a career out of it without even thinking about it.
Now, you've gone on to do this, but, you know, like I said, you came from a family of bricklayers in London. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who don't understand English, I'm sorry, we'll maybe try and get some subtitles for you, because Steve and I do not speak American, and we tend to speak more English to each other. So it's a different language, we understand that. But, you know, you didn't have the goal to be this, but you've gone on to do some pretty amazing stuff. I mean, you spoke at, was it Harvard you were speaking at?
Yeah, I spoke at Harvard twice. I've done a series of speeches around the world without really even thinking I was giving speeches. But I was just invited to be part in conferences and give lectures and keynotes. And really, if it was just fun and it seemed like a good giggle, I would do it. And I ended up doing Harvard once and was kind of like, wow, that was pretty cool. And then I got invited back the following year on the anniversary of the first year. So speaking at Harvard twice. That's awesome. I did without thinking about it too much. Had I thought about it, I may have been scared shitless and not been able to speak. But I did it twice. It was pretty cool.
So officially, what were they asking you to speak on?
The first year was, funny enough, non-conforming. It was about the luxury industry and how I stood out by basically doing everything opposite to what a luxury concierge would be perceived to look like. And then the second year was more on the state of the luxury market and what luxury people were interested in. And it was more about the experiential aspect rather than the gathering of objects anymore.
So,
big titles, eh? Big titles.
big titles, big titles.
I couldn't spell them if you asked me to.
So, you've done lots of interviews and you roll up and I'm a speaker and I know that there's a uniform and I certainly don't wear the uniform, as you know. I dress to my own style and you definitely dress to your own style. Did you rock up to Harvard in your usual attire?
Well, that was the funny thing. I actually got a call when I was in London. I'd had a couple of whiskeys in me when I got the call from Harvard. I was opening up an office there. And of course, because of the time zone difference, it was in my evening. I'd already sank a few of the old shivers. And this girl asked me to speak at Harvard, and I thought it was a joke. And she sent me this email on, she wanted me to speak on non-conforming. And then there was the location, then there was the time, and then there was the dress code. And quick, without thinking, which is basically how most of my life's gone, I sent her an email back saying, "You're asking me to speak on non-conforming, but ask me to conform to your dress code. Isn't that kind of like," and she was like, "That was just standard. It shouldn't have been in there. We're all very casual here." I've never been to Harvard. I didn't bloody know. So she's like, "We're all very casual here. We know what you look like. Be you." So, of course, I turned up with a T-shirt, jeans. I had my iPhone with me and I had my earpiece in, just listening to music as I walked through the doors. And everyone in there is suit and tied. Even the girls were wearing jackets. So I walked in with a T-shirt on and I'm like, damn. So I did my speech in jeans and a T-shirt and then they invited me back the following year.
And of course, that set the standard then.
Well, no, they sent me, the second time they invited me, again, same kind of thing. They gave me this title, which was like a mile long.
Right.
And then again, the time, the place. And when it came down to the dress code, I actually, I had a note on there saying not applicable or something like that. So they had eradicated that requirement that year. So they knew what I was going to look like.
So here's the question. You said last time that everybody was wearing jackets, including the women. Did
Yep.
they change?
No, they didn't. They still look the exact same. It's funny. You go back there. It doesn't. I swear you could knock on the door in one of their dorms middle of the night and they'd wake up still wearing a jacket or a Ralph Lauren shirt or something like that. It's funny. Some people just, and I'm the same. Some people stick to that style and just stick to it, regardless. Luckily for me, it's just a black T-shirt and jeans.
With everything that you do and all the kinds of people, because I know you and I met, was it 4 years ago originally?
Yeah, Hollywood, yeah.
4 or 5 years ago in a Hollywood event. And that was a room with 200 people in it who were all sort of top of the thing in the speaking world and the author world. And, I know that you interact with a lot of people, Branson and Elon Musk and all those kinds of top-notch blokes. You interact with a lot of leaders. Do you see anything that is what you would consider a common theme, something that you see in them that stands out, that says that's a leader?
There's two things. One's unfortunate, one's passionate.
Sure.
The first thing is there's a shield because these people are being knocked on the door of every day, all day, 24 times a day. So there's a shield, and probably the two very good examples of this is Donald Trump and Richard Branson. They have a smile, they have a stance. It's almost a model. A model will know her left side is better than her right, so she'll always do this, and she'll talk to you a certain way. You've got to get through that shield very, very quickly. And then the second thing is passion. Each one of these people that are true leaders, the Gates, the Jobs, the Musks, these people, they have a passion. And this can be found in any... Now, I've spoken to you about people that are famous and everyone knows their name. There are people that are equally successful, more rich, more successful, but you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
But they do still carry the same passion. You talk to them about that project, you talk to them about what they're involved in, and you talk about it to them quickly, and the lights come on, and the shield drops.
Right.
And they stop giving the left side face, and they're engaged, and the eyeballs are in. And if you can gain that engagement quick, floodgates are out, and it's like trying to fill a thimble with Niagara Falls. Everything comes at you, And it's just phenomenal to see what's coming out of that conversation, what's coming out of these people's mouths, what's coming out of these people's creativity. But that's it. It's get rid of the shield and watch the passion turn on.
See, I think...
Now, if you're not engaging, you're only going to see the shield.
Right. And I agree with you, because that's one of the things that you and I both have, and I think it's why we get along, actually, is because neither of us are full of shit, and we're both willing to just jump in, and then we're having a conversation with a person as opposed to a title.
No. We like dressing up goats in skirts. That's why.
Yeah, but that's
apart from that.
That's later. Okay, that's the plus section.
That's after the whiskeys. All right, carry on.
No, Don Julio, 1942. Remember?
Oh yeah.
So, you and I have conversations with people as opposed to as titles. And I've had this conversation with a lot of people that they go, I found it was very difficult to connect with this person because of their fame, fortune, whatever. And they say, yeah, you connected right away. What is that? And it's because, this is my language, because I don't give a shit about their success. And it doesn't mean that I don't respect their success. I do. But I understand that that's not who they are. That who they are is probably that what you were talking about, that passion. It's something that is that fire inside of them. So how do you get past that shield like that? Because you do. I know you do. I've seen you do it.
I think, the first thing is not to see it. If you turn up to someone and you're introduced to someone as, this is so-and-so, he's the head of the Fortune 500 company, he's worth $4 billion, okay? You can't enter that conversation.
No.
You cannot be there. That's the time you go, Dov, it's a pleasure to meet you. I want to speak with you, but I have to come back in a second. I'll be back in about 10 minutes. I apologize for this. Go away, because you can't enter a conversation on a level playing field with that leading. You just can't. So fuck off, walk away, do something, come back and grab that hand and go, I'm sorry about that. I didn't appear to be rude, but I really had to do something with my family. I had to phone my daughter. I had to speak to a client. A friend of mine had asked me to do something for him, and I didn't want to let him down. But hey, I would like to have this chat with you now. Do you have a minute? And then you're okay. But you can't walk into that conversation with that billboard in front of you. You won't be accepted, because if you're introducing someone as that, you're giving them extra shieldage.
Yeah.
And that's just wrong. So you want to get over there, and the first thing is you go, hey, Dov, it's great to meet you. Hey, good handshake. Or cool haircut. Did your wife do it? Just something to just get the quip. Yeah, is that a dare? Just something like that straight off the bat to just throw it out and get something abstract coming in. Because if you grab hands and go, Mr. Baron, it's a pleasure to meet you. I've been reading your books and it's really, really good. And you do that, and you're just digging yourself in a hole that you've got further to climb up to get on the same playing field. So get rid of the shield straight away. If you've got to lead up like that, shake hands, apologize, but tell them you'll come back in 10 minutes. Trust me, you'll be respected if you've got a good reason to do it. And then just shake hands, go, do we have a minute now?
Right.
Good handshake, or like the cut of your suit,
right.
Or nice socks. Just something abstract.
Yeah.
Just to get... You turn around and you go, nice socks. And they go, most people can't remember what bloody socks they're wearing.
No, of course not.
And as soon as they look down, you got them. I remember seeing an interview, and funny enough, someone sent it to me again this morning. It was on Mike Tyson when he wins a fight. Did you see that?
No.
So Mike Tyson says he's won a fight before he goes in, because he breaks the guy down before he's walked into the ring. Yeah. Once he's in the ring, all he's got to do is do what he was supposed to be in there for. But you can't go in and fight the myth that the person's supposed to be.
Right.
And he says he looks in the eyes. Second the guy looks away, he's got him. Now he'll come back and it'll burn into him with the eyes. But it doesn't matter. The chink's already there. You already lost, mate. You lost the stare out about 10 minutes ago. You lost the fight 10 minutes before I walked in.
Amazing.
So it's the exact same thing with a business individual, a relationship. You've got to go in there and you've got to be on a level playing field. And there's got to be a reason for that person to talk to you as well. Whether it be you make them smile, right. You're giving them an engaging line of communication, you're paying compliments to their hairdo, their beautiful wife, their beautiful husband, whatever. There's got to be some reason for you to be there. Because if it's to blow smoke, there's 400 people down the corridor that can do that for them.
That's actually great insight, and I think that most people wouldn't realize that, but that is great insight. I was just thinking as you were saying that, I was thinking about how you and I had met, and Larry walked, a friend of ours, Larry Benet, walked me over to meet you, and he got distracted, as you know, Larry, shiny object, got distracted by somebody else, and he said, "I'll be over in a minute," and I just went, "Okay," and I went over to talk to you, and I just remember this. And I spoke to you, and I can't remember anything about, because I didn't know who you were. I didn't know who you were. You sure as hell didn't know who I was. And we sort of hit it off right away, and then we both got sort of pulled away and never saw each other after that. But I remember it was none of that, as you said, the billboard. There was no billboard. And I think that's a really key point, because I think, you know, when we're here for tips for leaders and loyalty, is people do get that. They get that anxiety because they're bumping into the billboard, as you just said. I think it's a really great tip for people.
Well, I'm happy to impart it.
See, more of your ugly wisdom.
My wisdoms, yeah.
What is the name of the book?
Seven Ugly Truths.
7 Ugly Truths. It's on Amazon, right? People can get it.
It's not actually. I did. It was done between me and Dean Jackson, and we put it on the website. Very hard to get. Link on uglysims.com, and quite simply we just put it up there. Anyone that can find it deserves to be able to buy it. And then we actually announced a little while ago that we didn't even want to take any of the money, so my wife chose the charity, and it's going to St. Jude's. So any money that we get from the book whatsoever just goes straight off to help someone else.
Well, you also have another thing that you do. Tell us about Blue Cause.
Our Blue Cause is my little switch, is my passion project. We go out to certain charities and celebrities that we know, and we get them to put up a dinner date with, or walk on part in a movie, or play drums or guitar with, or go backstage. We put it up online on bluecause.com, and all the money goes to charity. Now, it's a bidding auction like eBay, and the winning bidder gets to let me give it this. The winning bidder gets to actually pay directly to the charity. We speak to the people about the charity. We get them to put something up that's cool. It's got to be experiential. I don't want any signed T-shirts, mugs, or any of that shit.
Right.
And then what they do is we put it up on Blue Cause. We promote it out. The biggest bidder obviously wins it. But then we introduce, here's the beautiful thing. Here's the big, sexy, wood item here. The winning bidder gets introduced to the charity direct and pays the charity. Money doesn't go through our bank account. We don't get the check come through. It comes through us in no way, shape, or form. And then the charity informs us that the payment's been accepted.
Right.
And then we help fulfill to make sure that the celebrity does what they engaged to do in the first place. So complete, unheard of in the industry, 100% of every penny raised, every cent raised, goes directly to the charity and the cause.
And I don't think people realize how rare that is, because a lot of your money when you give charity, 10 cents out of your dollar is going there. All the, admin fees and whatever the heck else that they call it, but so little happens. And Blue Cause, I mean, the whole thing that, why I was so excited about it for you was that you were giving all of it. Every dollar, every penny of every dollar.
It's tough, but charities have to keep the lights on. So in fairness and respect to them, you give them $1, and if they're managing to send 40 cents over to actually do good, then, we're lucky, because they're not very well paid. They don't have big, beautiful seaside offices. They've got to keep the phones and the lights on the coffee machine. So you expect that there's expenses in it. But those companies that are online, that are doing the promotion for these charities under the banner that this goes to Make-A-Wish, this goes to Orphans in Need, this goes to multiple sclerosis. All of those companies online, and this is where I'm going to get hate mail and bring it on, is quite simply they go on there saying, hey, the money goes to so-and-so, but they keep a major proportion of the money that comes in as commissions.
Of course.
Now, they're not benefiting the charity,
no,
but the money goes into their pockets, so they're getting rich off of the charitable banners. And that personally pisses me off.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. And that's what I love about what you're doing. There's not many. I think Angel Network as well does it, which is Oprah's thing. She does
right. Okay. Yep.
Money. But there's not many. There's not many at all. And I think it's really
there's very few. There's very few, and it's a sad thing. And it should be a revolution that people get behind. People want to donate to charity. People want to have cool experiences. If you can marry the two, then it's a win-win. We get great PR out of it. We get to sleep well at night. I get another tick that's hopefully going to get me up to the big guy in the sky one day. But it's all for good, and we should be doing it. And any entrepreneur that can keep the lights on, feed the family, and has got enough gas in his tank to go out for a drive, then they should be doing this for good as well.
Yeah, I think it's really great. Tell us, because with BlueFish, as I said, you do weird and wonderful things for people, and I'm sure you've been asked this a million times. Tell us one of the oddest things that you've been asked to put together.
One of the oddest things. Oh, my God. Well, as you know, you mentioned it earlier. Last year, we took over the Accademia, which is the one of the top museums in Florence, and that houses the original Michelangelo's David. Mm-hmm. And we took that over because we wanted to put a restaurant inside at the feet of Michelangelo's David. So if you think of your local museum, your local gallery, and you go, hey, I'd like to stick a table of 6 at the bottom of that fine piece of art, that kind of like, are you mad? Yeah. We managed to do it, but even cooler than that was halfway through dinner, we actually had the maestro himself, Andrea Bocelli, come in and serenade the dinner table underneath the feet of Michelangelo's David. So that was pretty cool. We've had clients go 2 up on a MotoGP bike. We've had clients on stage singing with Journey and becoming the world's shortest lead singer of Journey, the rock band. We've had people get a drum lesson from the drummer of Guns N' Roses, a guitar lesson by ZZ Top. Just whatever you could think. We've sent clients down to see the Titanic. We've sent clients up in to do MiG-25 dogfights where there's 2 MiGs kind of like fighting each other with lasers, lock and load, and avoid, and all this kind of stuff. We've done all this kind of stuff. Shooting range with the Navy SEAL. With some serious arm power. Wow. It's just, but then also we've catered for some luxury hotel accommodation and managed to get them upgrades to some beautiful corner suite and have roses and champagne chilled on ice waiting for them to turn up. So we're very famous for the wow factor. Yeah. But we take that attention to detail even to making the mundane just seamless.
Beautiful.
It's great fun.
How can people find out more about you and what it is that you do, Steve?
Well, if you want to just do something absolutely incredible, thebluefish.com, you have to apply for membership, but that's the website for that. Me, I do speeches, mentoring, and consulting on uglysims.com, and we're on Facebook as well under BlueFish, BlueFish Group. So follow the revolution and just enjoy life.
And also, Blue Cause, for those of you who want to be part of the charitable work that Steve does and make sure that every penny goes to the charity, make sure you go. Is it bluecause.com?
It is bluecause.com. And again, we're on the Facebooks and the Twitters and all the other social anti-social places.
Yeah, you can find them on all those places. It's been great having you on, mate. Thanks so much for sharing your wisdom. I think you gave a really juicy bit around the whole piece around engaging with high-level individuals. Powerful stuff, and I think it's going to really be very, very useful for our viewers. Thanks, mate. Great having you here as always. Terrific talking to you. Cheers,
Peace out.